The courtroom cameras captured a moment that would explode across the internet and completely destroy one woman's carefully crafted image forever. Karen Williams stood at the defendant's table, radiating the kind of confidence that only comes from years of using money, intimidation, and social status to get exactly what she wanted. Her expensive designer blazer looked freshly tailored, her salon-perfect hair shimmered under the studio lights, and the luxury leather briefcase beside her was packed with documents she believed would guarantee victory. Across the courtroom sat 16-year-old Danny Martinez, nervously clutching a thin folder filled with papers his family could barely afford to print at the public library. His dress shirt was slightly too small, his father's old tie hung loosely around his neck, and his trembling hands revealed just how terrified he truly was. The contrast between them couldn't have been more heartbreaking, but this wasn't just a simple courtroom argument over property damage. This was a story about privilege versus struggle, power versus truth, and what happens when an entitled person decides to destroy an innocent teenager's future simply because she felt disrespected. What Karen Williams didn't realize as she smirked confidently at Danny across the courtroom was that Judge Judy had already identified more than 20 contradictions and lies hidden inside her written testimony. In less than 10 minutes, Karen's entire web of deception was about to collapse in front of millions of viewers in one of the most satisfying courtroom takedowns ever televised. Karen had spent years terrorizing her upscale suburban neighborhood. Everyone knew her name, and not for good reasons. Over the previous 3 years, she had filed 17 separate complaints with the Homeowners Association, and nearly every single complaint targeted teenagers. Kids riding skateboards too loudly, high school students playing basketball after her self-invented quiet hours, teenagers walking through her street instead of around the block. Karen had become infamous as the neighborhood tyrant, the kind of woman who would call the police over a lemonade stand and somehow convince herself she was protecting property values. Her newest target was Danny Martinez, a hardworking honor student who balanced school, robotics competitions, and a part-time grocery store job to help support his family after his father passed away 2 years earlier. Danny's mother worked exhausting shifts as a nurse just to keep their household afloat, and every dollar Danny earned went toward helping with bills or saving for college. Danny made one mistake in Karen Williams' eyes, one tiny mistake. A few weeks earlier, Karen had demanded that Danny personally carry her groceries to her Tesla. But Danny politely explained that store policy prevented cashiers from leaving their registers while customers were waiting in line. He apologized respectfully, but Karen didn't care. In her mind, being told no by a teenager was unforgivable. From that moment on, she decided Danny needed to be punished. Then came the accusation that nearly destroyed his life. Karen claimed Danny had intentionally keyed her brand-new $85,000 Tesla in the grocery store parking lot, causing thousands of dollars in damage. She sued him for $8,500, the exact amount sitting in Danny's college savings account that his late father had spent years building for him. If she won the case, Danny wouldn't just lose money, he would lose his future. The consequences hit his family immediately. The grocery store suspended Danny while the investigation was ongoing. His college application stalled because of the pending lawsuit. His mother began working extra shifts in fear that they would lose everything. Meanwhile, Karen Williams prepared for court like she was heading into battle. She hired an expensive attorney, spent thousands on legal preparation, collected professional photographs, repair estimates, and carefully rehearsed emotional testimony designed to make herself appear like the innocent victim of a violent teenage delinquent. Danny, on the other hand, walked into that courtroom with nothing but the truth. No lawyer, no expensive evidence binder, no polished legal strategy, just honesty, fear, and hope. What Karen didn't know was that Judge Judy had already started digging into the case long before the cameras began rolling. While Karen practiced fake emotional speeches in front of a mirror, Judge Judy reviewed documents, examined timelines, contacted the grocery store, and uncovered inconsistencies that immediately triggered her instincts. The trap had already been set. Karen just didn't realize she was walking directly into it. When the hearing officially began, Karen launched into a dramatic performance worthy of daytime television. She described discovering the scratches on her beloved Tesla with theatrical outrage, insisting she saw Danny standing nearby in his grocery store uniform with what she described as a smug expression. According to Karen, Danny vandalized the vehicle out of revenge because she had previously complained about his customer service attitude. She presented glossy repair estimates, dramatic photographs, and stacks of paperwork as if she were presenting evidence in a criminal trial. Her lawyer sat beside her nodding confidently, while Karen painted Danny as a disrespectful teenager seeking revenge against an innocent woman. At first glance, her story sounded convincing, but Judge Judy noticed something important almost immediately. Karen was too prepared, too polished, too rehearsed, and the more details she added, the more suspicious Judge Judy became. Judge Judy calmly asked Karen to confirm the exact date of the alleged vandalism. Karen confidently stated it happened on October 15th around 3:05 p.m. She even added unnecessary details about leaving Pilates class and preparing for a dinner party that evening to make her story sound more believable. That's when Judge Judy's eyebrows subtly lifted. Longtime viewers knew exactly what that meant. Karen had just made a massive mistake. Judge Judy continued questioning her carefully, almost casually, asking about Danny's work uniform, the parking lot, witnesses, and threatening text messages Karen claimed Danny had sent after the incident. Karen answered each question with growing confidence, convinced she was dominating the courtroom. She even mocked Danny repeatedly, calling him rude, disrespectful, and entitled. But every answer was tightening the trap around her neck. Then Judge Judy turned to Danny. Unlike Karen's dramatic performance, Danny's fear was painfully genuine. His voice shook as he explained that he couldn't possibly have damaged Karen's Tesla because he wasn't even at work that day. He had requested October 15th off weeks in advance to attend a regional robotics competition with his school team. Danny admitted he didn't have glamorous evidence or professional lawyers. He only had a robotics schedule, an approved absence request from work, and people willing to confirm he was at the competition all day. Karen instantly scoffed, accusing him of inventing a fake alibi with his friends. That's when Judge Judy's tone changed completely. She asked Danny for proof of his work schedule. Danny nervously handed over the approved time-off request signed weeks before the alleged incident. Judge Judy examined it carefully and smiled. Not a friendly smile, the kind of smile people give moments before delivering checkmate. Then she turned back toward Karen. "Mrs. Williams," Judge Judy said calmly, "you testified multiple times under oath that you personally saw Danny Martinez in his work uniform at the grocery store parking lot on October 15th at 3 p.m., correct?" Karen nodded nervously. Judge Judy slowly lifted a second document. "Well, according to official employment records provided directly by Riverside Grocery and verified by Corporate Human Resources, Danny Martinez was not scheduled to work that day at all. In fact, he had an approved school absence for a robotics competition." The courtroom exploded in gasps. Karen's face instantly drained of color. Her confidence vanished, so quickly it looked like someone had flipped a switch. Suddenly she started backtracking, claiming maybe she got the dates mixed up. Maybe it happened on a different day. Maybe she remembered incorrectly. Judge Judy wasn't buying it for a second. Then came the final blow. Judge Judy revealed that the grocery store parking lot had security cameras covering every section of the property, including the exact area where Karen claimed there were no witnesses. Karen visibly panicked. Her lawyer closed his eyes in defeat before the footage even appeared. When the surveillance video played on the courtroom screen, the truth became impossible to deny. The cameras clearly showed a teenage boy in a red hoodie deliberately carrying Karen's Tesla. And when the boy briefly turned toward the camera, his face became visible. It was Karen's own son. The entire courtroom erupted. People gasped. Some audience members shouted in disbelief. Danny sat frozen in shock, while Karen completely collapsed emotionally. Through tears and trembling sobs, she finally admitted the truth. Her son had damaged the Tesla, and instead of accepting responsibility, she decided to frame Danny because she was angry about their previous grocery store confrontation. She even admitted to creating fake threatening text messages herself to make Danny appear dangerous and guilty. Judge Judy's fury became legendary in that moment. She tore Karen apart with absolute precision, calling her actions evil, calculated, and malicious. She accused Karen of trying to destroy a hardworking teenager's future simply because he refused to break workplace rules to serve her personally. Then came the ruling that instantly went viral online. Judge Judy dismissed Karen's lawsuit completely, permanently barring her from bringing the accusation again. Then she awarded Danny $8,500 in compensatory damages, the exact amount Karen tried to steal from him. plus an additional $5,000 in punitive damages for emotional distress, reputational harm, and Karen's outrageous conduct. But Judge Judy still wasn't done. She announced that she was forwarding all evidence to the district attorney for potential criminal charges, including perjury, fraud, falsifying evidence, and attempted insurance fraud. Karen's breakdown became complete. The confident woman who walked into court, expecting revenge, now faced financial ruin, public humiliation, and possible criminal prosecution. Meanwhile, Danny's life completely changed. Judge Judy personally wrote letters supporting his college applications and recommending his reinstatement at work. His story went viral nationwide, inspiring scholarships, donations, and public support from millions of viewers who were furious over how he had been treated. Karen Williams thought money and status made her untouchable. She thought a poor teenager wouldn't be able to defend himself. She thought lies and intimidation would overpower truth. She was catastrophically wrong.